It's no great surprise that the government and the Home Office is determined to go ahead with its Rwanda scheme, despite the fact that its own research has confirmed that it's going to cost a huge amount of money. The argument is that it will eventually pay dividends in the long run by deterring people from making the journey across the English Channel to claim asylum or to come here illegally or whatever. The idea that deterrence works has not been proven. And the real problem is that the Home Office, in a very lazy and vague way, cites the Australian situation. The Australian situation in Rudd's Operation Sovereign Borders involves three distinct actions. One is locating people in Papua New Guinea and various places. The other is pushbacks, and the other one is takebacks. And the evidence seems to suggest that it was not the deterrence of being put in another country, but the pushback regime which has stopped the boats, or which reduced the boats significantly in 2013, 2014. Initially, when this operation began, there was a huge rise in the number of boats that came to Australia, but it has reduced now. Now, the problem is, one might be crowing and saying, "Oh, so it works." Well, what works is the pushback thing. And that is the policy that Greece has been pursuing for the last 20 years. It's led to a number of alarming fatalities. And indeed, I would strongly suggest that the sinking of the vessel off Kalamata last week was part of that pushback regime. The Greek Coast Guard were informed that this boat was in difficulty. They were informed that it needed help. They have maintained the fiction that it was travelling to Italy, and yet the tracking information tells us that it was stationary. And I'm afraid the Greek authorities are again going to have egg on their face, as they did in 2001, as they have done on a number of other occasions since. Yes, on this occasion they're not peppering the hull with gunshots, but they have presided over another catastrophe, and the deaths that took place seem to be a result of Coast Guard decisions. I was going to say indifference, but that's not the case. These were very specific decisions not to engage and to try to manage the story through PR and these extraordinary claims that the boat was on its way to Italy, when the tracking doesn't bear out that. Much the same as the claims that Putin was in the Kremlin, when there's tracking information telling us that he was hurrying away to one of his palaces. So the evidence is there. And I think if Suella Braverman intends to go for a pushback, we are going to end up with deaths as well. This is not Australia. This is a different situation. And I think we're also in a different age, and I think Suella Braverman needs to be very careful before she claims with absolute certainty that deterrence works, particularly if she's going to be spending so much money on this, money that could otherwise be spent on the homeless, on the cost of living, on sorting out our trains or our NHS. Wasting money down the drain for an ideological obsession.